we're going to have a little fun discussion. This is fun. I was sitting here and I was thinking how nice and relaxing it is with my sky's the limit headroom. Very comfortable, nice and cozy and warm. And I've got all day here today. I had all day here yesterday, and you know, subscribe, all that stuff. Videos from yesterday and the previous 12 or 10 years or whatever. 550 bloody videos up on YouTube. And I was thinking, it's so nice and relaxing and enjoyable here. It's almost a shame to have to go back tomorrow, and I kind of do have to go back tomorrow. I've got family things and I probably ought to go back tomorrow, but I'll tell you, the temptation is quite high where it would be so nice to literally stay here tomorrow and go back the next day. I was drinking my tea and I was thinking, well, I would have had 3 nights here anyway, you know, going back tomorrow. And I think once, maybe last year, I did a 4-night camp. And I think at some point I'm going to have to do another 4-nighter because they are quite enjoyable. You've obviously just got to make sure you've got enough power and food, you know, and that type of thing, you know, to cover the extra time. And this trip, bizarrely, because it took me ages to find this spot, I actually didn't really eat that night. And yesterday morning I had my chicken for lunch, so I didn't have breakfast. So I actually probably do have enough food. It just got me thinking, why do nearly all the YouTubers that I don't watch? Because I must admit, I word it like that because I watch very, very few YouTubers, to the point of none, where, you know, some will cross my timeline, as it were, on YouTube, and I'll look at the odd, and I'll look at the occasional one, but there's not that many that I do. The main ones, I will just name the 3. I do tend to watch Paul Messner's, the Lone Explorer I'll tend to watch, and the Border Rambler. These 3 I tend to watch occasionally, and these 3 do what I'm talking about. This is a general thing about a load of other YouTubers which I used to watch and I just gave up watching, basically. And these 3 I just enjoy watching because they're kind of just entertaining and fun. Some people can take things the wrong way, and I don't want that to happen because these are 3 nice people. I'm not saying that all the others that I... Oh God. This is... When you deal with psychological issues, this is one thing you tend to pick up on. That doesn't mean that I'm meaning that I dislike all the other people, or all the other people are bad people. They're not. I just get that out there as well. So now we've dealt with the psychology of things here. Why is it that nearly every YouTuber, and I was also guilty of doing this in the early days as well, for many years I went out for 1 night only and went back the next day. In fact, many of my early trips, one thing that did differentiate me slightly from these other, some of these other channels, now like I said, I'm talking generally now, I noticed that a lot of YouTubers, they kind of like go out late afternoon, early evening, video themselves walking somewhere, video themselves, you know, in camp for a while that evening, whether it's light or dark, video themselves packing up first thing the next morning, and video themselves pissing off back to the car. Now, the one thing that I was different with that slightly in the earlier days is, in the earlier days I would go out first thing in the morning, walk all day, and then obviously camp in the evening. And then I must admit, I would get up first thing the next morning, but that was actually a psychological problem. It was like I needed, it was like I had to psychologically get up and go home as quickly as I could the next day. It was a very, very strange psychological thing. It's like, you know, I was okay going early the first morning, and I was okay walking all day. And I must admit, in the very early days, I did used to get into camp and think, can I stay here the night? And there were many times when I had to literally psychologically fight my brain, almost force myself to stay. It's not that I didn't enjoy the camping, it's just I suffered terrible homesickness, and it was really, really difficult to be able to stay the night. And it took quite a long time, several years. Of the 10 years I've been camping, it took several years before that cleared, and I was able to comfortably get into a camp, settle down peacefully and calmly, you know. But then I would still wake up the next morning with this thing, I need to get going first thing. As one or two of you may know, I got interested in watches, and I sort of joined a few watch groups and met up with a watch person down on Dartmoor. But I had to meet them on a Sunday, and my normal camping day was a Monday. So they basically had to get there on the Sunday so they could get back to work the next day. So I said, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll meet up on the Sunday, but now what do I do? And then I thought, well, I know what I'll do. I'll just bring my tent, an extra bit of food, and I'll just camp the Sunday night in my usual spot. It's easy to get to, knew where it was, etc. And that was really, oddly enough, how my 2-day camping thing started. And then it's kind of like, you know, for personal reasons in the last like 2 or 3 years that I've camped out for 3 nights at a time, and once 4 nights. I kind of worked out that way once, I think. So that's kind of how it started, and I've always been very relaxed doing that. You know, I've never once thought, oh, I need to head back home. I've never once thought, oh, I'm going to abandon camp because it's, you know, the conditions aren't perfect. I did all of the abandoning camp. I did all that psychological mumbo jumbo stuff, and I'm not taking the piss out of psychological mumbo jumbo. That's just me talking. You know, I dealt with all of that stuff a long time ago, and I know it's serious, and I can tell you that psychological stuff is serious because on a completely different topic, nothing to do with this, I'm living with it, so it's got nothing to do with that, but I know that it is very serious. And I remember I do remember one other time, and it was the first year of camping, and it was in the time when Colin Ibbotson was talking to me. I never know what happened to him after I did my 2 camps with him. But anyway, some people, they just disappear. Anyway, it was May time, and I think I'd done maybe 3 or 4 camps on Dartmoor. So this was in 2012, and I was still like really green to it, you know, and I was still really, really psychologically, I found it very difficult to stay. I was walking across, I think I was going across Yes Tor, I think it was the area of Yes Tor. I was crossing over there, and it just started to rain. And I know now it sounds ridiculous given I get bloody soaked all the time now, but I got quite wet, and it just didn't feel very comfortable. And I pinged a message over to Colin, and I said, you know, this doesn't feel quite right. You know, I have this feeling that I ought to just head back. And he very nicely replied back, and he said, look, if you don't feel like staying out, head back. You've got plenty of camps ahead of you where you can do your staying out. You know, if you don't feel comfortable staying out, then head back. And that's what I did. I headed back home, and I was fine when I got home. I felt a bit sad that I'd you know, bottled out because I'd got wet. But you know, psychologically, and often because of kit or something like that, you know, we have to head home. So I'm not taking the mickey out of anyone that, you know, if you need to bottle out, you need to head back, then head back. There's no shame in that whatsoever. But now I tend to kind of get on with it now, not worry about it so much. But so I've done all of that. I've done all of that psychological mumbo jumbo. I can't deal with it. You know, stuff, you know, a long time ago. Although I've not lost any parents or anything like that. So I don't know what the psychological situation will be when that happens. I can actually feel a couple of spits of rain. But the main point of this video is, why is it that nearly every YouTuber, they come out late afternoon, film themselves walking up a hill, setting up camp, and then going back the next day? And like I said, all of the ones that I've seen, and I have seen a lot, you know, I've seen like 10, 15 different channels, and they all do the same. And I just got bored with it, and I just don't like it. And the only reason why I mentioned the 3 that I mentioned is because I just actually enjoy their content. So even though they do what I'm talking about, it doesn't really bother me because they're just likable people, and I'm quite, you know, so it doesn't bother me that they do it. It's just that everybody seems to do it, and it just seems a bit boring to me that that's what people do. And maybe I'm a bit of a sourpuss in that they all get thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of views, and I get fuck all. But it's nothing to do, but it's actually nothing to do with that at all. I mean, I don't give a monkey's rat's fucking ass. You know, literally, oh no, it is literally, there you see, there's karma for you. There is karma for you. You start complaining about something or someone, and it starts to rain on you. So that's what karma is for you. So anyway, all I got to do is go from my veranda here and my porch, and all I got to do is just scoot back, and then I'm undercover, safe and sound, in my porch. I'm in my porch now, looking out into Mother Nature. And if it cools off, then I've got a jacket. In fact, I might even put my shirt back on. When that sun was out, it was quite pleasant. And my guess is, obviously, people probably have family commitments, and they probably just can't stay out any longer than me. I just don't give a toss. I'm staying out, and that's it now. It's just too nice and enjoyable. And while I'm able to stay out, you know, maybe things will change. You know, my parents are reasonably self-sufficient. Even though my mother's got dementia, my father's being tested for Parkinson's. So it's kind of like, at the moment, I kind of like making hay while the sun shines, as it were. But anyway, I just wanted to, it was supposed to be like a short video, but I was just curious, why does everybody just go out for one night? You know, why don't they go out for 2 or 3 nights or something like that? Admittedly, I don't always actually go anywhere or do anything when I'm out. And like I said, I'm not criticizing them. You know, if people want to do just one night, that's fine. I did it for years and years and years and years, and I was perfectly happy with it, and I wouldn't have wanted someone complaining that that's what I was doing. So I'm not criticizing them, I'm not complaining. You know, I'm not being unpleasant. So, you know, if anyone thinks that, then you're listening to the wrong person, you're listening to the wrong channel. It's just a passing thing that everybody just seems to go out for one night. They tend to go out in the evening or late afternoon, walk up a hill, walk back down again the next day, and that's it. And I'm just curious as to why that is. Why can't people stay out a little bit longer? And maybe that's why people find my videos boring and they don't watch them, because I come out here, stay here for 2 or 3 nights and don't really do so much. Whereas people that go out for a short length of time, I reckon they sort of edit the walk there, edit a bit of cooking, edit a bit of, I don't know, falling asleep or something, edit walking back to the car, and that's it. And they seem to get all the views. And yet someone who's out here for days on end doesn't get any. And this has actually got nothing to do with views either. That's just a passing comment. And it doesn't matter to me. I'll just keep doing this until I can't do it. And if only one person watches, that's fine. I really don't care. You know, that one person can watch and enjoy my walks. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that either. It's just like a curiosity. As humans, we sometimes get curious about these things. So, and then from that, it then just got me thinking, but why does everybody only stay out one night in the first place? It does remind me a little bit of what Chris Townsend wrote in one of his books, where he said many times, you don't really feel the wilderness until you've been out, well, in his case, probably like 6 months or something. But, you know, for us mere mortals, you don't really feel the wilderness until you've been out here for, you know, at least 2 or 3 nights at least. So, you know, I just wanted to just do that as another fun video that nobody will bother watching. Because I look at the length of time and think, oh God, we're not watching all of that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.